On August 6, 2011, there was a U.S. Boeing CH-47 Chinook military helicopter. We remember it. It was in the news. It was shot down while transporting a reaction force attempting to apparently reinforce a unit of Army Rangers. This was in Kabul in Afghanistan. Apparently they were attempting to capture senior Taliban leaders. A lot of questions about the helicopter crash that killed all 38 people on board, unfortunately, 25 American Special Operations personnel, 5 Army National Guards crewmen, 7 Afghan commandos, and 1 Afghan interpreter. This is considered the worst loss of life in the entire Afghanistan campaign, surpassing, of course, Operation Red Wing in 2005. Joining me right now, live in studio in Tel Aviv, Israel, are 2 individuals who are quite close to what happened in Afghanistan, Billy and Karen Vaughn. Check out their website, forourson.us. Their son was a Special Operations Chief, SEAL Chief. Aaron Carson Vaughn was one of America's most elite warriors, was killed, unfortunately, on the chopper crash, where I noted that 20 of the Naval SEAL teams actually were members of the Naval Special Warfare Development Group, the elite unit of commandos formerly known as SEAL, Team 6. This is the unit that has been in the news of late for, of course, having carried out the operation that eliminated Osama bin Laden.
Hi, I'm Billy Vaughan, and this is my wife Karen. And where are we, Karen?
We are actually on the Mount of Olives in Jerusalem, overlooking the Old City.
The Old City, and you can see the Golden Dome, the Dome of the Rock behind us, the Dome of the Rock over the foundation stone, where history has it that Abraham brought Isaac to sacrifice him before the Lord stopped him. Also where King Solomon built the temple to the Lord. Later where Jesus taught in the Second Temple, and now you can see that Islam has claimed it as their own with the Golden Dome over the rock, over the foundation stone. Up behind me is Gaza, the enemy of Israel, the enemy of the U.S., the enemy that the U.S. is funding and putting pressure on Israel to appease and appease and appease and back up and back up and back up, just like we do in the U.S. with Islam. Appease and back up. Appease and back up. Is it living or surviving? There is a critical message that must be spoken about at least what I have experienced. Because my son was a warrior. And I've wondered in my life, had I stepped up to the plate 30 years ago, as this enemy began to creep up, that has taken my son. Would those before us, my generation, and people looked to see the problem, would my son not have had to fight in global war on terror? I don't know. I can't answer that question. I don't know. But what I do know is that as my son is gone from the battle, and as our children are gone from this battle, I, with the breath that the Lord gives me, in a different way, will do as much as I can against what is taking my son. He knew the enemy. He saw the enemy. We talked about it many times, between good and evil. He saw it black and white, clearly. How savage how evil this enemy is. I cannot set back. Too much is at stake for, I feel, for all of Western civilization, for the U.S., for Israel alike. I just do. And I have to do something. And what the Lord gives me breath to do, I pray that I will obey His will and have the courage to do it.
So would you like to say something for closure?
I would just like to take a really brief opportunity to tell you just how
Humbled.
humbled we are that you would even allow us to be
Yes.
part of this, and your presentation to us the other night.
But I'll tell you this. Aaron gave his life, lost his life, however you want to look at it, doing what he thought was right to do. Fighting an enemy that is a coward, that takes lives in the way that the lives in this room have been taken. An enemy that will not face your warriors face to face. That come in among you where we're unsuspected, where we're going about life. Israel and the United States have two things, have one thing that both of us value very much, and that's human life. The lives of our loved ones, the lives of our women, the lives of our children. We fight an enemy that does not even value the lives of their own children or their own women. And we're all victims. But I say to you that we cannot remain victims. We must live our lives and do whatever God has given you the ability to do to not lose to this enemy. Thank you very much for having me.
Just tell what Aaron said about Israel.
I would tell you this. I know y'all know that we have a president in our country by the name of Barack Obama. When President Obama became president, I will not make this political. I'll just tell you what my son said. And some things had been said about Israel by the administration. And maybe how some things with Israel could change in relationship to the United States. Aaron and I had talks all the time on the phone, from time to time about things going on like that. And Aaron told me that I can tell you that if the United States turns its back on Israel and were to ever go to war against Israel, that I'd have to fight with Israel. Because my son believed what God said to Abraham, that I will bless those who bless thee and curse those who curse thee. And the U.S. well-being is tied to Israel. I believe that with all my heart.
I understand we're the first Americans that have ever, and I just, you probably couldn't even understand how much that means to us because of our passionate love for Israel and the Israeli people. And that's what I'd like to say is just thank you. I hope we can, I hope somehow we can work together, from the States to here and yeah, I would love to be part of that.
But just let me say, I don't know, even if I can explain this, but I mean, what Karen says about, to us, as Jews, you are God's covenant people. That's all we understand, and it is a privilege and an honor for God to have created a way for us in Christianity to be grafted in. I mean, we could never be who you are. We could never be. But as a Christian, and in our belief, you know, and what God has shown us is we can be grafted in, stuck onto the side. Well, and it's just humbling that, in a sense, you have done the same. I mean, America is obviously not Israel, but you have been, because he says we are the same, you have made us a part of it. And it's just humbling. It's just so humbling. I mean, words can't express it. And thank you.
The grafted branch means very healthy fruit.
Thank you.